Hey guys, how are you all doing? After Frodo and Sam cross the Anduin to reach Mordor, they are followed by Gollum, who had been stalking the Fellowship since they arrived in Mordor, gathering provisions along the way from the Elves of Lothlorien. This is when the entire company receives supplies. Frodo accepts the Light of Elendil, while Sam receives Elvish Rope. The provisions gifted by the Lady Galadriel and her husband Celeborn were useful at particular times throughout the story of The Lord of the Rings. The skinny grey rope crafted by the Elves of Lothlorien themselves was given to Sam and seemed to have abnormal abilities. The rope was light and compactable, as is the nature of elven material, yet it was sturdy, and Sam himself measured that the rope would have been roughly a staggering 37 yards. So the question of the day is, how and why did the rope hurt Gollum? In Emyn Muil, Frodo and Sam used the rope to climb down a steep slope, and within a matter of days, the same rope is used to bind Gollum, and the pain it caused him was evident. The rope caused the creature an immense amount of pain, so much so that he swayed his convictions about the hobbits and promised to lead them into Mordor to destroy the ring which he lost for, and at the time of his promise, he meant it.
We swear to serve the master of the precious. We will swear on the precious.
Gollum claims that
Elves trusted it.
He had a deep hatred of the elves, having encountered them before when he was imprisoned in Mirkwood just a couple of years prior. He understood that the rope was tainted by them. As soon as it touched his skin, he began to scream, a thin, tearing sound, which was horrible to hear. The rope hurt and burned Gollum, claiming that the rope freezes and bites. The rope was crafted by the Elves of Lothlorien, which had a prominent population of Noldoran elves. The Noldoran elves, including Galadriel, dwelt in Arman, also known as the Undying Lands. In the First Age, when Sauron's master Morgoth defeated the king of the Noldor, Finwë, and stole the Silmarils crafted by his son Fëanor, Morgoth then fled to North Middle-earth, developing his first fortress, known as Udun. The Noldoran elves, who had now lost the Silmarils crafted by the now King Fëanor, would depart from Arman to Middle-earth. Fëanor gave an impassioned speech and led the elves to the continent, where they could rule as they wished, without the Valar. Galadriel desired to travel to Middle-earth so that she could rule her own kingdom. The sundering of the elves led to the War of the Jewels in the First Age. To not digress into this very interesting and treasonous story, the Noldoran elves led by Fëanor travelled via boats to Middle-earth. Their arrival marked the First Age. Fëanor's clan of elves had betrayed another clan, led by his half-brother, Fingolfin. The treachery led to Fingolfin and his followers, which included Galadriel, to be forced to travel to Middle-earth via an icy wasteland known as Helcarax. Turning back to Arman was not an option. Perhaps I can make a video on why in detail in the near future, because it really is a fascinating story. I know what you're thinking. How on Middle-earth does a story dating back prior to the beginning of recorded time have to do with Elven Rope burning Gollum? Well, the theory is rather modest. I am simply proposing that the elves cursed the rope so that their enemies could not use the rope in an advantageous manner, whilst Galadriel and her kin were journeying via the icy wasteland of Helcarax. Many of her kin perished due to frostbite from the freezing conditions, which they would have never experienced in Arman. Perhaps this monumental journey, which symbolized their transition from the heavenly Undying Lands to the warful continent of Middle-earth, and the rope and other similar creations, was used to symbolize their arduous voyage in their witchcraft. Hence why the sensation was a cool, dry ice kind of burn, as opposed to the fiery sensation, which we'd more likely see from a dark necromancer, such as Morgoth or Sauron. This enchantment is quite a useful war strategy, which leads to enemies not being able to use Elvish provisions which they have encountered. For example, an orc could not climb a rope to get to point B from A. The touch would cause them an unbearable amount of pain. And we see this in The Lord of the Rings when Gollum cannot eat the practical lambless bread made by the elves, claiming that
It tries to choke us!
he also avoids the touch of their elven cloaks in the books. And in The Hobbit, after the dwarves are captured, the goblins are extremely agitated at the sight of elvish blades that they possessed. And this is why the Elven Rope, which was cursed by the nasty elves, presented Gollum with such a painful experience that he swore to serve the hobbits in destroying his adored. I hope you enjoyed this theory. If you did, be sure to support the channel. Every like and subscribe helps this channel grow and allows me to produce more content for your enjoyment. Hanonle for watching, and I'll see you on the next episode of Lord of the Rings Theory. Namari.
Embrace the power of the ring, or embrace your own destruction.
Renewed shall be blade that was broken, the crownless